Welcome back to Apex Sci-Fi, and welcome to the front lines. In the vast, silent expanse of intergalactic warfare, most battles are decided at distances beyond visual range. Ships fire beams of coherent light across thousands of kilometers, and death is a silent, sudden vaporization. It is clean. It is impersonal. But sometimes the Navy can't get the job done. Sometimes an enemy digs into a hole so deep or hides behind a shield so powerful that you have to go in and dig them out by hand. And when that happens, the Terran United Command doesn't send a diplomat. They don't send a drone. They send the 105th Orbital Drop Shock Troopers. The enemy calls them Void Demons or Skybreakers. Humanity just calls them the Hell Jumpers. Their tactic is simple, brutal, and utterly terrifying to any sane species. They wrap themselves in 10,000 pounds of ceramic armor and thrusters, drop out of a carrier in low orbit, and ride a pillar of fire straight through the atmosphere, slamming into the ground at terminal velocity right in the middle of the enemy's dinner plate. Today the target is Xylos 4. It is the crown jewel of the Vorash Empire, a species of four-armed reptilian warriors who worship elevation. Their capital city, Zorath, is built atop a 5-mile-high spire of natural obsidian, piercing the planet's toxic cloud layer. For 3 years, the Vorash have used Zorath as an untouchable staging ground for raids into human space. They are protected by a triple-layered theater shield generator that laughs at orbital bombardment. The Vorash War Master, Kvar, sits on his throne high above the clouds, looking at his tactical screens. The humans orbit like frustrated insects, he sneers to his sub-commanders. They cannot break the shield. And they are too cowardly to attempt a ground assault up the mountain passes. We are invincible. Kvar is about to learn a very hard lesson in human geography. For a Terran, the shortest distance between 2 points isn't around the mountain. Straight down. High above the planet, in the drop bay of the carrier USS Retribution, the air smells of ozone, hydraulic fluid, and raw adrenaline. Sergeant Elias Viking Thorn stands locked into his HEV, human entry vehicle. It's basically a coffin loaded with guns. Sound off, grave diggers. Thorn barks over the squad comms, his voice gravelly from years of shouting over gunfire. Pod 1 green. Pod 2 locked. Pod 3 ready to burn. 30 voices check in. 30 men and women wrapped in pressure suits and polarized helmets, clutching Mark 7 kinetic assault rifles. They aren't nervous. They're angry. They've spent 3 months watching Vorash raid fleets burn human colonies, unable to touch them behind their shield. Today they get to touch them. Alright, listen up, Thorn growls, checking the charge on his kinetic shielding. The Vorash think they're safe because they built their house on a high rock. They think the sky is a roof. We're about to show them it's a door. The mission is simple. We drop hot, we land hard, and we carve a path to the central shield generator. We turn it off and the Navy turns this mountain into a parking lot. Clear? Aura. The cry shakes the drop bay. The red lights turn green. The floor beneath the pods retracts, revealing the spinning blue marble of Xylos 4 below. Drop in 5, 4, 3, 2, burn. Thorn's stomach hits his throat as the magnetic clamps release. The pod falls away from the artificial gravity of the ship. For a few seconds there is silence. Just the soft hiss of oxygen and the sight of the stars spinning outside the tiny viewport. Then they hit the atmosphere. It starts as a low rumble vibrating through the ceramic hull of the HEV. Within seconds, it becomes a deafening roar. The black of space turns a violent, angry orange as the friction heats the pod's ablative shielding to 3,000 degrees. The G-forces slam Thorn back into his crash webbing, compressing his chest until it feels like a tank is parked on his ribs. Altitude 90,000 feet, the Pod 6 announces calmly. Thermal shielding at 80%. Outside the window, Thorn sees the other pods of his platoon, streaks of fire cutting through the upper atmosphere like a meteor shower of retribution. Then the Vorash defenses wake up. Anti-air detected. Evasive maneuvers initiated. The pod lurches violently to the left as thrusters fire, dodging a stream of purple plasma that erupts from the city below. The Vorash flak batteries are opening up, filling the sky with deadly energy. Pod 6 is hit. Pod 6 is gone. Someone screams over the comms. Thorn doesn't blink. He sees the flash off to his right as Corporal Jenkins' pod is vaporized. There's no time to mourn. You mourn when the shooting stops. Tighten up formation. Thorn yells. Push through the flak layer. Target the plaza. They punch through the cloud layer, and suddenly the city of Zorath is spread out below them, a gleaming collection of obsidian towers and energy bridges. The Vorash soldiers on the ground look up, expecting to see bombs. Instead, they see hundreds of metal coffins screaming toward them at Mach 2. Brace for impact. Braking thrusters in 3, 2, 1. The retro rockets fire with a concussive boom that nearly knocks Thorn unconscious. The pod decelerates from hypersonic to survivable speed in under 2 seconds. Crunch. Thorn's pod slams into the polished obsidian stones of the central plaza, carving a 20-foot trench before coming to a halt. The impact is brutal. If not for the inertial dampeners, his spine would be dust. Smoke billows from the scorching hot metal of the pod. The explosive bolts on the hatch blow outward. Thorn kicks the door open and steps out into the alien sunlight, his rifle already shouldered. The plaza is chaos. Drop pods are littered everywhere, smoking craters in the beautiful alien architecture. The Vorash defenders, 7-foot-tall reptilians in ornate green armor, are stunned. They were prepared for a siege, not a vertical envelopment. Contact front. Thorn roars. The Vorash recover quickly. Their 4 arms allow them to wield 2 plasma rifles simultaneously. The air fills with the sizzling snap of energy weapons and the thunderous rhythmic thump-thump-thump of Terran heavy-caliber kinetics. Thorn snaps his aim to the nearest Vorash warrior. He squeezes the trigger. A 3-round burst of 12.7 mm tungsten cord slugs hits the alien in the center mass. The Vorash energy armor flares, absorbing the first shot, but the second and third punch straight through, shattering the reptilian's chest plates in a spray of purple blood and ceramic shards. They bleed, boys. Keep pushing. The Helljumpers move like a pack of wolves. They don't use the elegant cover-to-cover tactics of the movies. They use aggressive violence of action. They throw grenades into every doorway, spray suppressing fire down every alley, and close the distance before the enemy can set up heavy weapons. They fight through the residential districts, the ornate glass buildings shattering under the barrage of human firepower. The Vorash, used to fighting long-range energy duels, are horrified by the human tactics. The humans use physical bullets that cause messy, catastrophic wounds. They use bayonets. They use their armored fists. These aren't soldiers. A Vorash field commander screams into his radio, panic seeping into his voice. They are barbarians. They fell from the sky and attacked with knives. Thorn leads his squad toward the massive humming structure in the center of the city, the shield generator complex. It's guarded by a Vorash sentinel, a massive tripod combat walker armed with heavy plasma cannons. The walker turns toward Thorn's squad, its cannons charging with a menacing whine. Viking. That thing's gonna vaporize us. Private Lou yells, diving behind a statue. Only if you let it see you. Thorn growls. Squad 2, lay down suppressing fire on its optical sensors. Lou, you're with me. We're going hunting. While the rest of the platoon distracts the giant machine, pinging rounds off its thick armor, Thorn and Lou pop smoke grenades and sprint through the blinding gray fog. They run right under the massive legs of the walker. Thorn looks up. The machine's reactor core is exposed on its underside, glowing angrily. Boost me. Thorn yells. Lou laces his fingers together, and Thorn steps into the makeshift stirrup. With a heave, Lou launches the armored sergeant upward. Thorn activates his jump jets for an extra boost, grabbing onto a hydraulic line on the walker's undercarriage. The machine shakes violently, trying to dislodge the human parasite. Thorn holds on with grim determination, pulling a magnetic limpet mine from his belt. He slaps it onto the reactor casing, sets the timer for 5 seconds and drops. Fire in the hole. He hits the ground rolling just as the mine detonates. A massive blue explosion guts the walker from the inside out. The giant machine lets out a metallic screech and collapses into a heap of burning scrap. Doors open. Thorn yells, dusting off his armor. Into the complex. The inside of the generator complex is a slaughterhouse. The close quarters fighting is brutal. Thorn uses his rifle as a club as often as he shoots it. The air is thick with smoke and the copper smell of alien blood. They reach the central control room. The generator core is a massive pillar of swirling energy. Standing in front of it is the Vorash High Guard, elite warriors with personal energy shields and wrist-mounted blades. Leading them is a Blade Master, a towering creature holding twin energized swords. The Blade Master points one sword at Thorn. Human, it hisses. You have fought well. I grant you the honor of a warrior's duel. Thorn looks at the alien. He looks at his squad, bleeding and exhausted. He looks at the timer on his HUD, counting down the window for the fleet's bombardment. Duel? Thorn spits on the floor. Buddy, I didn't fall 50 miles to play swords with you. Thorn raises his rifle and empties the entire remaining magazine into the Blade Master. 30 rounds of armor-piercing kinetic fury. The alien's personal shield flickers and dies under the sheer volume of fire. The Vorash elite is turned into purple mist before it can even take a step. The rest of the High Guard hesitates, stunned by the lack of honor. That hesitation is their death sentence. The rest of the Helljumpers open fire, clearing the room in seconds. Plant the charges on the core. We've got 3 minutes to get to the extraction zone. The squad rigs the generator with enough C4 to level a city block. They sprint out of the complex, fighting their way to the edge of the city where the dropships are inbound. They dive into cover behind a thick obsidian wall just as the charges blow. The explosion is silent at first, a blinding flash of white light as the generator core goes critical. Then the sound hits, a deafening roar that shakes the entire mountain. Above them, the shimmering blue dome of the theater shield flickers, wavers and then vanishes. The city is naked. Retribution, this is Viking actual. Thorn pants into the comms. Shield is down. The rock is yours. Copy that, Viking, the carrier's captain replies, his voice grimly satisfied. Good work, Helljumpers. Rain incoming. Thorn looks up. The clouds above the city turn bright red. Then the orbital bombardment begins. Massive tungsten rods, fired from the carrier's Mac guns, streak down from space. They hit the Vorash city with the force of tactical nukes. The obsidian towers shatter. The palaces crumble. The impregnable fortress of Zorath is systematically turned into gravel. The Helljumpers watch the destruction from their extraction point, their armor scarred, their ammunition spent. They light cigarettes and share canteens, watching the fireworks they created. They didn't win the war today. But they proved something the galaxy needed to see. There is no fortress high enough, no shield strong enough, to keep humanity out. If you build a wall, we won't go around it. We won't tunnel under it. We'll just fall from the sky and kick it down from the inside. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. Feet first into hell. It's the only way we travel. If you enjoyed this gritty, boots-on-the-ground invasion, hit that like button. Comment below. What's the most insane military tactic you've ever heard of? Subscribe for the next front. The Wall of Atacama. The pods are cooling. The mountain is burning.